That Son of God, with a capital S, in this world, from my viewpoint, because I have a very limited viewpoint. I have one little, call it this way. If there's a Son of God, I am like one of his zits.
Okay.
God made him as as everything. The Son of God was everything. He didn't give the Son everything. He made him as everything.
As everything. Mm-hmm.
I am that tiny zit saying, I am the whole Son of God. But I am that whole thing and everything. And that whole thing and everything is good. It doesn't suffer. It doesn't experience pain. It is the miracle of God itself. My whole problem is thinking that me as a zit is separated off and wandering around with some reality. Of course, that's a disaster.
Right. You could have just been a hair on the head.
I know, but I know that's what came to mind.
Didn't have to be a zit.
I pictured the Son of God as a teenager with a certain skin problem.
Okay. Right. He doesn't have those kind of problems.
Boom, boom. You're right, sir.
Okay.
There's only one person that needs forgiveness. It's not the kid. It's not him. It's me. Right. Forgiveness is always me.
Right.
It's meaningless for me to forgive the Son of God for either having acne or having a big body that I can't understand. It's meaningless. The only meaning is for me to forgive me. For that limited perception.
Yeah, for the limited perception.
That's ultimately the only place forgiveness can land.
Today's reading is from chapter 26, The Transition, and we're reading from section 7, The Laws of Healing. This is a big review right here, just letting you know about things. So this is a great section right here. The Laws of Healing. This is a course in miracles. As such, the laws of healing must be understood before the purpose of the course can be accomplished. Let us review the principles that we have covered and arrange them in a way that summarizes all that must occur for healing to be possible. For when it once is possible, it must occur. Go ahead.
So you said it's a review. Paragraph 2. And this would be the first point. All sickness comes from separation. When the separation is denied, it goes. For it is gone as soon as the idea that brought it has been healed and been replaced by sanity. Sickness and sin are seen as consequence and cause in a relationship kept hidden from awareness, that it may be carefully preserved from reason's light.
So that was the first, obviously, break from our awareness of our wholeness, is the idea that I could somehow be separate. But as soon as we deny the separation, it goes. So, I've wrote some notes, and it says, I don't know what that means in a way to deny separation when you're experiencing yourself as a body, but it warrants at least contemplation for me. And
sin is limitation.
Yeah.
Okay, sin is a sense of limitation, that I'm basically a flawed human being.
Right.
And because of that, the result is going to be that I get sick, or in other words, things go wrong because I'm a flawed human being. And that it's saying here that relationship is kept out of our awareness.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't think that's what's going on.
Yeah,
here.
and the ego says it's carefully preserved from reason's light. We do that to ourselves.
Okay.
Let's go on. Okay, paragraph 3. Guilt asks for punishment, and its request is granted. Not in truth, but in the world of shadows and illusions built on sin. The Son of God perceived what he would see because perception is a wish fulfilled. Perception changes, made to take the place of changeless knowledge. Yet is truth unchanged. It cannot be perceived, but only known. What is perceived takes many forms, but none has meaning. Brought to truth, Its senselessness is quite apparent. Kept apart from truth, it seems to have a meaning and be real.
So guilt is the sense that there really is a problem, and it really does have to be fixed.
Yeah.
That's why guilt asks for punishment. It is real, something really happened, and so therefore it's asked for punishment. Now, just to say, again, we're talking in terms of guilt and punishment,
Yeah.
or in terms of sin and sickness, but you realize this is everyday events.
Right.
If we went back to, let's say, the situation we were talking about with my son being here,
Right.
the guilt of it, the sin of it is that there's something wrong here, and that there's this sick thing running around.
Right.
That there's something problem here, and that guilt is that it's real and it asks for punishment. In other words, that it's a real situation, and the punishment can take the form of me trying to reach in and fix it,
Or that it's
or
going
that
to
it just
fix
gets
me.
worse, or
It's going to maybe get worse.
It's going to fix me.
It's going to fix me, and maybe in not such a good way. So, and the Son of God perceived what he would see because perception is a wish fulfilled. That is like very interesting.
Yet the truth is unchanged. Okay,
Yeah.
That's the deal.
Yes, the truth is unchanged, but what we don't realize is that we are wishing, meaning I want validation for my thought process. If I think that there's a crazy person in my house, I am going to make sure that I see all the things that make sure that validate my point. And in fact, I might even be helping the situation to show up with more and more validation because I have determined something. So
one example of that, I'm going to bring it up just
Yes.
because, is
Okay.
We were on our way out of town, and my son was going to be staying here upstairs. We have a whole flat upstairs that he can have. And in it is an old stove. And we were virtually out the door.
we're going to be
And-
gone for about 4 days.
And Joanna sees the burner is left on upstairs, which, since it's an old stove, we're worried about, because we have this thing called knob and tube. We're afraid of this house burning to the ground,
Yes.
and our insurance doesn't cover
I
it.
was like, great, we're not going to come home to a house.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and plus, the idea of burning the house down because of leaving on a burner is a reason back in your distant past.
Yes.
You were asked to leave someone's apartment.
Yes, I was.
So-
Yes, I did. I left.
So
something.
isn't it funny how you have this
Yes.
symbolic gesture
Yes.
of potential irresponsibility
Yes.
that's a direct reflection on yourself. It has
Yes.
powerful realities because it was made real way back in the day by saying, you are going to burn my house down.
Right.
You must leave.
Right.
Right? So that and so in terms of you made it up.
Yes.
My
Yeah.
Kenneth Wapnick
Well, not
phrase.
only that, because I already thought that he's not stable and everything else. I'm going, oh, there's validation. Left the darn burner on, So wish fulfilled. Do you understand? So we don't understand how powerful we are when we start to have fears build on top of fears, which I did as we were walking out the door. I'm like, oh my God, this is a good idea.
It's the opposite of vigilant for the kingdom.
Yes,
it's
it is.
vigilant for the proofs of the nightmare.
Yeah, it is. And so if you've done that, I'm just I'm making you revisit those things.
Paragraph 4.
Yeah, go ahead.
Perception's laws are opposite to truth, and what is true of knowledge is not true of anything that is apart from it. Yet has God given answer to the world of sickness, which applies to all its forms. God's answer is eternal, though it works in time where it is needed. Yet because it is of God, the laws of time do not affect its workings. It is in this world, but not a part of it, for it is real and dwells where all reality must be. Ideas leave not their source, and their effects but seem to be apart from them. Ideas are of the mind. What is projected out and seems to be external to the mind is not outside at all, but an effect of what is in and has not left its source. You understand what this means in a sense, what I heard when I was relative to the situation that we've been referencing, the guest, and the nervousness around the guest, is that God's solution to our dilemmas are eternal. In other words, it happened once and for all at the
Yes.
beginning.
And he answered it at the time, the instant that that this idea that we could be separate, it was answered. And I had to actually remind myself of that multiple times since he's gone, that all my problems are already answered.
But I can't receive the gifts of the Spirit as
Yes.
long as I have something else on that throne.
That's right.
So as long as I insist on telling God how he needs to fix a certain situation by changing the circumstances, I won't be able to receive those eternal gifts that were put there. Now, so what does that look like, really? There's a bunch of big talk, that I can't understand because it's beyond time and space.
Right.
Well, it looks like this. Recognize that this person is on their own life, their own trajectory, their own path. All I need to know about this person, my son, is that he is my Savior. That's it. That's all I need to know, that he has come to give me some precious message from God, from the Holy Spirit, if I can receive it, if I can fight, if I can lay down my obstacles, if I can partner with the Spirit. He has a message to give me, and I need to cling to the possible tragedy of not being able to get that message because I'm so gummed up with my own determinations.
Ideas. Yeah.
So what I do is,
And that's why it said ideas leave not their source. So if I'm working out of fear on my egoic system, that's what those are the reflections I'm going to get back.
I look for lightness. I look for the light. I look for not vigilance for the nightmare, but I look for vigilance for the kingdom. In spite of the fact that I'm living in the nightmare at the moment, just pinch yourself and say, don't worry with your musings about what can go wrong or what this implies or what you think it all means. Partner with the rule that you don't understand. The fact that somehow the messenger of the Holy Spirit, in the form of, in this case, my son, has come to you vividly. He's come from Minneapolis or whatever, and you drove him here, and the message is taking this disturbing form. I don't want this message. Take this message away. This is me rejecting the message. Right. And all I can do is pray again and again. Give me this message. Give me your blessing, Holy Son of God. Give me your blessing, Holy Son of God. That's all I can do in this situation. And recognize my own sickness. Right. It's my own sickness. Why is this? It's because he wants, my son, wants to deliver the message. Please let me receive it so that he can drop it.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
That brings light to the situation.
Yes, it does. And as it said, God's answer is eternal, though it works in time where it is needed. So the answer to our perceived problem is already done. But if I'm open to it, and depending on, what's going on here, he's open to it or I'm open to it, we're both, then it will show up in time as something that will clarify what all of this has been about. This little jog in our peaceful kingdom here. So, and right now I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what happens from here, because I more and more am able to hand it over. But this is all about recognizing that the ideas leave not their source, and their effects but seem to be apart from them, and they're not. Ideas are of the mind. All of this is taking place in the mind, and that's where it needs to be healed. Okay, paragraph 5. God's answer lies where the belief in sin must be, for only there can its effects be utterly undone and without cause. Perception's laws must be reversed because they are reversals of the laws of truth. The laws of truth forever will be true and cannot be reversed, yet can be seen as upside down. And this must be corrected where the illusion of reversal lies.
The interesting thing about that, when I read that earlier, is that I have described the miracle as turning reality upside down.
Yes.
which is interesting because for me it has. Things happen that can't happen. Glimmers and brightnesses and lightnesses happen in a situation that I couldn't possibly have conceived of. So in a way, I feel like reality, the physical reality, is turning upside down, which gives me the challenge here in paragraph 5. The goal is for me to reverse that whole situation. It's not that the miracle turns reality upside down and makes it better.
Right.
It's to see that my everyday way of looking at cause and effect in time and space, everything I do, is upside down.
Right.
That God is God,
Yes.
truth is true, and any time I believe that I'm dealing in a casino and I don't know how things are going to turn out, and I've got to do this, and
That's the false.
yeah, like lucky number 7, I realize that that's upside down. I've got that's vigilance for the kingdom, to start to recognize that I'm the one that's turning God's reality upside down.
Right.
And that all that's happening in a miracle is I'm seeing the way that it really is all the time.
Right. And I did a little diagram where I put 2 equilateral triangles above and below. So at first I put truth, which has above, and the reflection below, the false. And the way I drew the false was the upside down one was with little waves across it, which means it's a reflection, and therefore the false cannot be perceived. In your perceptual reality, in the Bible, they call it seeing through the dark glass dimly. But I would say it's on a surface that there's so many ripples that you can never see what the truth is really there. And so if what happens in where God uses the time, and the laws must be reversed, even though, God is eternal and it doesn't need time, it will show up in time for me. What he's talking about, I saw it as, okay, my world actually, I have put the false with the little ripples on the top. That's my world. And the truth is, in other words, below my awareness. It's upside down here. And so when the holy instant happens, the whole thing flips so that actually truth is in my awareness in the upper part, and the false with the ripples in it is below. Did you understand what I said?
I think so.
Okay, so I have 2 triangles, with truths and false like this. But each time when it flips over, I realized actually I live in the world of false, where the ripples are on the waters all the time. So there's no way that I can see things really true. So what he was saying, where those miracles happen, is when truth takes its proper place. It's now in my full awareness, above the line where the 2 triangles meet. And the rippled world is now not in my awareness, it's below.
Well, tell me if this is similar.
Okay.
Is the famous drawing the lady or the crone? And that when you look at the crone, you see an old lady with a big nose, and she's wearing kind of a headdress. And that's all you can see. Your mind cannot hold anything else.
Right.
Let's call that the nightmare.
Right.
And when you turn that drawing upside down, suddenly it's a beautiful lady with a hat, and you're looking at her kind of in profile on her ear,
Right.
and maybe an earring.
Right.
And you cannot see the crone anymore.
Right.
But you can't, when you turn one upside down or the other way, you can only see the other image. It's
Right.
difficult to hold on to the view.
Because the world of illusion and the world of truth do not exist in your awareness simultaneously. They don't. They're just...
Even though as in the lady and the crone, it's the same line drawing.
Yes.
It's the same reality. It's the same sun pacing up and down upstairs. It's the
Right.
same old house we're in. It's the same wiring problem. Everything's the same. The drawing is the same. But the Holy Spirit gives us the proper orientation,
Yes.
so that you see, the happy dream.
That's
what
right.
it is.
That's right. Yeah. So,
Paragraph 6. It is impossible that one illusion be less amenable to truth than are the rest, but it is possible that some are given greater value and less willingly offered to truth for healing and for help. No illusion has any truth in it, yet it appears some are more true than others, although this clearly makes no sense at all. All that all that a hierarchy of illusions can show is preference, not reality. What relevance has preference to the truth? Illusions are illusions and are false. Your preference gives them no reality. Not one is true in any way, and all must yield with equal ease to what God gave us as answer to them all. God's will is one, and any wish that seems to go against his will has no foundation in the truth. Everything is an illusion, but I keep some for myself.
Yeah. Some are more true to you than others.
And true meaning more valuable, could be more terrifying. It
Yes.
could be more dangerous. It could be more precious. I don't want to let the illusion go of, let's say, a certain kind of success, or I don't want to let an illusion go of a certain kind of relationship, or I don't want the illusion to go about some misbehavior that's bothering me.
Right. And when there are real threats to body, whether it's weather,
Right.
Like a hurricane's coming in and something else like that, to stand out there and go, you're an illusion, isn't going to help you. It's just, we just need to recognize that when the fear is upon me in a storm, in a stormy situation with a relationship with somebody or whatever it is.
Well, let me keep your thought and just remind us in the prior section, the appointed friend, not because it has the power to hurt, but just because you have denied it is but an illusion and made real, and it is real to you, it is not nothing.
Right, it is not nothing.
So we can't just
redefine
it.
We can't just flip it off based on the fact that we are experiencing through a sensate body things in our vicinity that we're going, that's not going to be okay. I need to do something about that. The hurricane's coming. Maybe I should get in the basement or whatever it is. That
at that point, I'm stirred into the illusion. I am part of the illusion. I'm stirred into the madness. I'm just a chunk of whatever, carrot in the stew of illusion.
Right.
I'm floating in it, and I don't have particular agency. I don't have a particular perspective that can get above it and look at it at that level.
In the moment.
Where something is bothering me.
Right.
Say something about it, because this, in a lot of ways, this is the rubber meeting the road. This is, to me, the crux of the course, because sometimes, as I've said before, my nervous system is set up in a certain way. Okay,
Right.
Give an example. We're talking about my son visiting, and it plugs directly into some very particular narratives that you have in your life.
Yes.
My situation is totally different with the exact same situation.
Right.
Mine is about my impact as a father, a dad, my influence, the ability to give him sovereignty to grow and develop or be who he is no matter what it looks like to me.
Right.
So we have totally different, same impact, same storm.
Yes. Exactly.
So what do you think about that?
Well, that means that, within this dreamscape illusion, if you want to call it, illusion or whatever, the dreamscape, I have only what goes on in my own brain and what my sensate system is picking up on, as far as how I relate to the world and everything else. And it's never the same. You grow up we both grew up in large families. And sometimes, we go through where people are remembering, certain incidences of things that happened growing up in the same house. I swear to God, it's like we lived in different houses. We did not live in the same place, because how I experienced something in my childhood is way different than my sister or my brother experienced in their childhood. And yet we were in the same environment. We were in the same thing and everything else. So we're always, as you would say, solipsistic, always from our own reference point of how we are relating to the things of our world. Not recognizing that my mind has anything to do with it. Like that somehow my mind is helping to generate my thought system, the kinds of things that I'm afraid of, the kinds of things that I enjoy, the kinds of things that they are reflected through this world of projection and reflection back to me. But right here it says, no illusion has any truth in it, yet it appears some are more true than others, although this clearly makes no sense at all. All that a hierarchy of illusions can show is preference, not reality. So, and then it goes on to say, what relevance has preference to truth? Illusions are illusions and are false. Obviously, I can say all of those things, but if I'm honest with myself, if there's a storm, we live in Kansas, and so if all of a sudden the sirens are going off and now the winds are kicking up and everything else, I'm not going to stand out in the storm and say, you're an illusion. I'm going to get into the basement or someplace where I feel safe. And there's nothing, as you said, that I can do about that particular thing. I can only hope that I won't let my fears rule me in such a way that it makes me incapacitated to do, to just function.
There are times, because I am a fiction, and I am a fictional self, because when that happens, the self-definition I've given myself is stirred into the pot, and there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I'd like to claim that there's something I can do about it. As I explained to one person, whatever prayers you have to whatever deities or whatever calmness you can conjure, you're on the Titanic and it's going down. Mm-hmm. Everybody's headed into the North Sea, everybody's going in, and it's going to be cold, and there's only a couple of lifeboats. So some circumstances you're stirred into the situation. So the Course has to be able to carry. It says your preference gives them no reality. In other words, I'm going down on the Titanic or whatever the disaster du jour is. Not one is true in any way. They're not true. God gave his answer to them all, and I'm under no laws but God's. I'm not under the laws of the North Sea temperature. I'm not under the laws of the dynamics of this or that. I'm not under any of those laws. There's only grace. There's because nothing within me that I'm aware of, nothing within the story, nothing within the narrative story of me either being on the Titanic or being with people that I can't work with or whatever. There's nothing that can get me out of it, and it's very, very difficult, almost impossible to get that 30,000-foot view of the situation I'm in.
Right, but I will say that.
But the Holy Spirit's still working. Okay?
Yeah, it's still working.
So am I punished for not being able to get the 30,000-foot view? No. So what does that look like then?
So I would say that if you're practicing this on a regular basis, you're getting more and more to the point where you can at least say that that you're in a spin, and that you're in a spin of either upset or fear or anxiety, worry, whatever it is. And therefore, that you're not in a place of making a good decision on your own. And so therefore, you do need to try and call in help. And we just did a little thing on Peter. It says, Lord, save me. And so, and that is the call for help, because I'm not in my right mind. I'm not in my right mind, and that's probably all I can do at that moment until I can get some sense of sanity, where I can get to a level of calmness where I'm going to have more faith and trust in the situation.
So the saving hand is there no matter what.
No matter what.
No matter
it's
what.
There.
So go on to 7, because maybe it actually gets into it.
Okay, let's go on. Sin is not error, for it goes beyond correction to impossibility. Yet the belief that it is real has made some errors seem forever past the hope of healing and the lasting grounds for hell. If this were so, would heaven be opposed by its own opposite, as real as it? Did I read that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Then would God's will be split in two, and all creation be subjected to the laws of two opposing powers until God becomes impatient, splits the world apart, and relegates attack unto himself. Thus he has lost his mind, proclaiming sin has taken his reality from him, and brought his love at last to vengeance's heels. For such an insane picture, an insane defense, can be expected, but cannot establish that the picture must be true.
Now, what I hear in this paragraph, I don't hear any solution.
No.
But what I do hear is an appeal to reason.
Yes.
To reason. There's one God.
Mm-hmm.
God is love.
Mm-hmm.
God is all powerful.
Yes.
Does it make sense that I would be sheared in half, or that I would be subjected to the rack or the Iron Maiden or some torture in the present in that situation? So what I'm saying is, if I'm suffering,
I believe. I
you
believe.
can see, you can't we can't even go there. You're not even. I can feel it.
Yeah.
I won't even let myself go there, because if the guy comes in, hauls me off, and sticks me in the Iron Maiden, I'm going to have to deal with that situation. I mean, in other words, I will have to suffer. It says it here. Sin can't be corrected. But the thing is, there is no correction.
It's not. Yeah. It's because.
I mean, there's no. Sin is not real.
But it's not real.
Yeah. But the thing is, if there's a sin meaning, in terms
I believe
of
in
what
my
I've looked at,
separation.
I believe
die.
the separation is real.
Yes, I believe the separation is real.
Then some of that stuff, there's no correction.
No, it's only realization that that's impossible.
So we're dealing with using reason to reason our way toward the presence of God. It's not the miracle. It's not anything. We're trying to use reason to increase, and because we covered that in chapters long ago,
right,
about reason getting me toward faith and belief. Faith and belief. There's a reason to have faith and belief, but you have to spend time with it. You have to work this out. I really am afraid of this health problem. I really am worried about this relationship. I really do worry about the person pacing in the upstairs.
Right.
I worry about these things. And I can't just say, oh, well, Calgonite, take me away. I mean, it's like, just let it vanish.
Right. And yet, I do know that oftentimes if I can come to a place where of my own reasonable state of mind, where I'm at peace. In other words, I feel something else settle on me because I have asked for help, and I go, I've asked for it, and I feel a sense of something is moving. That alone is, to me, the grace of God, and therefore the opportunity for it to be transformed into something that God wants me to see as a reflection back.
I have to somehow, I agree. I mean, I think that's right. I guess I'm thinking to myself,
even if it's just a flip in my own mind.
This is homework. This is homework. This is takeaway. This is to spend some minutes thinking about a real fear that I have, and the real role of God in bringing that to me, and how that relates to me, and using my own reason to see how much of that, according to the Course in Miracles and the teachings on this, where you have a loving God, He's there, He's got His Holy Spirit, the interpretation is there at all times. There's no order of difficulty. It's not like, He can handle, the parking lot situation, but He cannot handle the crazy person in the attic situation.
Right, yeah.
He cannot handle that. But the parking lot is no different than a million crazy people.
Right. Exactly.
So that don't you think that takes reason? You have to spend time with it.
Yes, for us. I mean, maybe it's easy now.
But, but that's called what do they call that? That in Buddhism they call it vipassana and shamatha. Shamatha is the formless meditation, but vipassana is the one where you have one-pointed drilling. You have to drill into these thoughts with a single mind. You just drill into it. Is God love or is God hate? Right. Is God crazy or is He sane?
Right.
And who am I? And what's my role? I have to spend time with these things.
I agree. And then, as it gets clear and everything else, you'll recognize when you're in your spin cycle, like it's called a spin cycle, where things are not peaceful. Things are definitely wrapped up in, that makes you feel like, in the middle of your solar plexus. Then, all you can say is, I guess I'm in a point of insanity right now. God help me.
Yeah.
And therefore, when I become more sane, then I can allow myself to have the moments where I can clear off my altar. I can leave it to God. Whereas I couldn't before because I was in my own insanity. I just have to recognize that that's what's going on. But this is a reasonable. This whole paragraph on sin here is extremely reasonable because it's saying if we allowed all this, if this were so, would heaven be opposed by its own opposite, as real as it is? And then would God's will be split in two and all creation be subjected to the laws of opposing powers until God becomes impatient, splits the world apart, and relegates attack unto himself? And that's impossible. I mean, knowing enough.
Or the question is not whether it's impossible or not, is whether I believe it or not.
Right. Exactly.
Now, if I believe it, then I have to reason my way through it.
Right.
And I think this paragraph is a call to self-education.
Right. I agree. So let's go on
Paragraph
and see where
8.
we get to here.
Nothing gives meaning where no meaning is, and truth needs no defense to make it true. Illusions have no witnesses and no effects. Who looks on them is but deceived. Forgiveness is the only function here and serves to bring the joy this world denies to every aspect of God's Son where sin was thought to rule. Perhaps you do not see the role forgiveness plays in ending death and all beliefs that rise from mists of guilt. Sins are beliefs that you impose between you, your brother, and yourself. They limit you to time and place and give a little space to you, another little space to him. This separating off is symbolized in your perception by a body, which is clearly separate and a thing apart. Yet what this symbol represents is but your wish to be apart and separate. We've talked about this. It's the nature of the illusion, the nature of the body. What do you call a body? I have this picture that's been unfolding about what the Course is talking about, and that there is one Son of God, with capital S. There's one Son of God. We in the Course are given the term Son of God with a small s. Mm-hmm. We're the small sons of God. But there's really, truly just one Son of God. There's one.
Yes.
God has one child, one loved one extension.
Yeah, one extension.
God has one extension, and that extension is not other than him.
Right.
It's almost an inner extension. It's almost like an extrapolation within himself. It's impossible to understand how he would extend out to something where he's all of everything already.
Right.
Okay. Now, that Son of God, with a capital S, in this world, from my viewpoint, because I have a very limited viewpoint. I have one little. Call it this way: if there's a Son of God, I am like one of his zits.
Okay.
Not even a toe. I'm just one of his pimples. And that if I think that my viewpoint from that vantage point, that I can comprehend the entire beingness, and it says in other places in the Course, God made him as all thing, as everything. The Son of God was everything. He didn't give the Son everything. He made him as everything.
As everything, yeah.
So that this entire created universe, and I had this, once again, one of those tiffs we had, about the fact that the chair, the table, the computer, this conversation, you over there, me over here, my history, my past, your histories and past, all of this from my vantage point, since I'm speaking with I, and I can't speak for your eye, I only can speak for my eye. I am that tiny zit saying, I am the whole Son of God. So I have to realize that I don't have my perceptions lie to me as a zit.
Yeah.
They lie to me. I can't see the whole thing.
Right.
But I am that whole thing and everything. And that whole thing and everything is good It doesn't suffer. It doesn't experience pain. It is the miracle of God itself. That's what it is. That Holy Son of God is the miracle of God. My whole problem is thinking that me as a zit is separated off and wandering around with some reality. Of course, that's a
Right.
disaster.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. You could have just been a hair on the head.
I know, but I know that's what came to
Didn't
mind.
have to be a zit.
I pictured the Son of God as a teenager with a certain skin problem.
Okay. Right. He doesn't have those kind of problems.
Boom, boom. You're right, sir.
Okay. But this one is a repeat of forgiveness is the only function here and serves to bring the joy this world denies to every aspect of God's Son where sin was thought to rule. Again, it brings up that forgiveness. Forgiveness of what? We're forgiving the fact that I thought I could ever be separate from the whole loving Father that's the everything of everything. I thought that I could separate it out. And that's what all of this is about. Is
Well, you
to
can see that
forgive it.
in the case of my nasty analogy about being a zit on the face of a teenage son of God,
Yes.
the fact that I've got that problem going on, there's only one person that needs forgiveness. It's not the kid. It's not him. It's me.
Right.
Forgiveness is always me.
Right.
It's meaningless for me to forgive the Son of God for either having acne or having a big body that I can't understand. It's meaningless. The only meaning is for me to forgive me for that limited perception.
Yeah, for the limited perception.
That's
So-
ultimately the only place forgiveness can land.
Yeah.
So that when I see someone, in other words, when I see something pacing and it bothers me, and I seek to forgive that, I have to understand that when I feel the need to forgive something out there, I'm only and always only forgiving
yourself.
myself.
That's true. That is true.
It's impossible to forgive anything but yourself.
Yeah. It looks like something else, but it's always a forgiveness of self. I agree.
So what's happening is with the pacing, the person, the Son of God is trying to come to me in His fullness, to the degree that I can handle it, to the degree that I can understand it. It's very specific to me. All the characteristics, I could write them all down of the things I'm afraid of, the things I'm worried about. The Son of God is saying, "I'm bigger than you think I am. I'm big. You're not just a zit, right?
Yeah, right.
You're bigger." And it comes as this thing, and it frightens me. It frightens me because I go, "Wow, that's too big," or "That's something I didn't really plan on," or "That's something I didn't really want." And so I forgive myself for not being able to tolerate myself.
Yeah.
I don't know who or what I am. That's all there is.
Right. And there's a forgiveness of wanting to preserve my individuated identity. Because,
I like my zitness.
well, yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I like.
I got that
and
thing
all of a sudden
figured
it's
out.
like, what do you mean? Where am I going to go?
That's
What's
right.
going to happen? So, yeah, I agree. So, and so the last sentence was, yet what this symbol represents is but your wish to be apart and separate the body. This symbol, the body, is but a wish to be apart and separate. So we chose it. We chose to be apart and separate in the symbol called a body. Okay, let's move on.
Yes.
Paragraph 9. Forgiveness takes away what stands between your brother and yourself. It is the wish that you be joined with him and not apart. We call it wish because it still conceives of other choices and has not yet reached beyond the world of choice entirely. Yet, is this wish in line with heaven's state and not in opposition to God's will? Although it falls far short of giving you your full inheritance, it does remove the obstacles that you have placed between the heaven where you are and the recognition of where and what you are. Facts are unchanged, yet facts can be denied and thus unknown, though they were known before they were denied. Yet facts can be denied and thus unknown, though they were known before they were denied. I'm not sure.
So the fact of my existence is it's reality. Okay, it's a fact. A fact is a fact, and it was there for all time. And it was there before I denied that it existed.
Oh, okay.
So I came along and decided that I was something that I'm not, and the thing I thought was kind of interesting in there is this whole statement. Yet is this wish in line with heaven's state? And
Yeah,
not
the wish to have forgiveness, which may then no longer is my brother and myself feel separate. It is the wish to be joined with my brother and not be apart that allows for the forgiveness. That wish is closer to heaven's state than it is to say, that's him over there, and I don't need to have anything to do with him. It's
right.
Not has nothing to do with me.
Well, it says
that kind of thing.
It's there to remove. It says it does remove. It falls short of heaven, but it does remove the obstacle. This is what
Forgiveness does.
You're right, but it removes the obstacle that I have placed between the heaven where I am, the heaven where you are, and recognition of where and what you are. Those are the two locations, saying I've created an obstacle between the heaven where I am, and I'm assuming that means my true state.
Yes.
The heaven where I am is
Yes.
my true state. Now, recognition, this is interesting, recognition of where and what you are. This falls in line in a sense. I know I'm jumping ahead of myself, bear with me. In the Garden of Eden, when Adam and Eve, they partake of the fruit of the tree of knowledge.
Yes.
And what happens is that they look at themselves and they realize they're naked. They didn't know that before.
Right.
So and as soon as they find out they're naked, they're booted out of the garden. Suddenly they're on their own, they're separated, they're messed up. So what I want to gloss over this, and you know how I like to pick up on things that stick out as anomalies. And it says, I have placed an obstacle between the natural heaven where I am, my natural state as the full Son of God, his entire self, that's everything, and the recognition of what and where I am. The recognition. In other words,
what I am and where I am is really in heaven. Right?
I know, but they're saying there's an obstacle between these two things.
Right, but that's the thought system that I think I'm separate, isn't it?
It's not what it's saying. It's saying, what I hear it saying here, and this is, I think, vastly important, is that all this business about illusion and the illusion that I am and all this kind of stuff, the fact is, let's go back to my gross analogy of the Son of God with a zit. Consciousness is in that zit.
Right, yeah.
There's a sense of I. There's a sense of I within the zit. And when it says, I'm a zit, I'm on his face, I'm pretty small. It's pretty gross, and it has all these judgments. That's our sticking place. But the fact of me being in heaven from all time is there. But I need to have the obstacle removed. I've placed a wall so that all I see is the zit aspect. All I see is my limitations.
Right.
All I see is my sin. And I've created a wall there. And the forgiveness removes the wall so that you can see where you truly are. In other words, when reading this, it doesn't sound like it takes away your sinfulness or what. I mean, it's just saying the recognition of where and what you are. The recognition. In other words, a lot of the problem here, is that I do have an awareness of who and where I am as an isolated entity in time and space.
Right.
That's okay.
Okay.
If you're not disconnected from the Father.
Right. Yeah. I agree with
So
that
the
one.
recognition of who and what I am is not bad. Is not sin.
No,
the sin is believing that that's the full reality.
Okay. I can see
But
that.
many times when we're doing the Course in Miracles, you say to yourself, this awareness of who and what I am is an illusion. No, it's saying here, as it said earlier, it's not. It's as I said, the appointed friend, and it is real to you. It is not nothing. Do not trifle with this reality that I've created for myself that's been walled off against my fuller reality. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I do.
So many times, last thing on it, so many times when we're doing a course, we say, yeah, this is a bummer. I'm an illusion.
Yeah.
All this is messed up, and it's an illusion. It's saying the problem is, you're correct, sir. It is messed up.
Yeah.
You have an accurate picture of that situation. Don't brush it away by saying it's an illusion. Instead, remove the obstacle from what that illusion is connected to, which is the Father.
Okay.
That's the healing.
Yeah, that is the healing. I see
The
that.
healing isn't brushing it away.
No, I agree. I
Okay,
agree.
there you go.
Okay.
Paragraph 10. Salvation, perfect and complete, asks but a little wish that what is true be true, a little willingness to overlook what is not there, a little sigh that speaks for heaven as a preference to this world that death and desolation seem to rule. In joyous answer will creation rise within you to replace the world you see with heaven, wholly perfect and complete. What is forgiveness but a willingness that truth be true? What can remain unhealed and broken from a unity which holds all things within itself? There is no sin, and every miracle is possible the instant that the Son of God perceives his wishes and the will of God are one. So give me one line that summarizes this paragraph.
Well, I mean, finally, it says, what is forgiveness but a willingness that the truth be true? In other words, that the separation never happened and that I was never made apart from the all-loving, peaceful wholeness of the all that is, which is God. And so if I can remember that, if I can remember that, there's no way that
It's asking for one thing.
What?
It's just simple. You got to want it. It's just that simple.
Well, that's true.
You got to want it.
Where did you pick up on that? A little sigh is a little willingness to overlook what was not there.
A little wish that what is true be true. A little willingness to overlook
Well,
what is
that's
not
true.
really there. A sigh that speaks for heaven as a preference. A preference. I prefer that unseen heaven to this.
Yes.
You just got to want it. That's all there is to it. But the question is, can you generate that little gotta want it? I know they call it the little willingness, but it's just, can you imagine? You're just sitting there and you go, do you want it? Well, I don't know. I mean, are you miserable? Yeah, I'm miserable. Do you want this other thing? I don't know.
I know. It reminds me of that one guy who was working with you, and he kept seeing you with this big board across your shoulders.
I'm extremely familiar with that.
And you're saying, he goes, do you want to get rid of it? Do you want to get rid of it? And he's had this.
Well, it's kind of, if I get rid of it, it's like, well, God's got other stuff to do. It's just God's
almighty.
He's omnipotent. He can do anything he wants to do. Your little stick is meaningless to him. I know, but it seems like my personal responsibility to carry my load.
Yeah, I know.
So there's that whole thing. I am really familiar, and I've seen it not just in myself, but in many, many people, of just when you try to take away suffering, you try to take away your burden.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll let go when I'm ready.
Right.
I want my burden.
I know. It's very interesting. Actually, I can actually feel sort of like, I would say, in this one, it's like, you would have to really say, do you want heaven? I mean, do you want it? You have to ask yourself. And then you can feel your energy sort of like slipping. It's like it slips away, like almost like you're going to fall asleep for some reason. And that is the ego trying to protect yourself from saying, yeah, Devin, I want heaven. I really want heaven.
My ex, I had this conversation with her. I can't remember what we were talking about, but I go, would you rather breathe in fresh, clean alpine air, or would you rather smell the exhaust out of the back of a tailpipe? And she looks at me, she goes, is this a trick question? That's the ego, okay?
I know.
That's the reaction to the whole Course in Miracles.
Right.
Is this a trick question?
I know. It is. And I mean, it helps to actually ask yourself if you really want to be unburdened by everything. And then if you suddenly feel like a little lightheaded and like you want to fall asleep or something, you go, no, actually, there's something in you that's like afraid to cross that gap or have God cross the gap and come towards you. Whatever that is that allows you to remember, it's very tricky. It's a very tricky little slippery thing.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's like I've spent my whole life, your job, Phil, is to hold up this chapstick. That's your job. That's your job, and I've been programmed to believe that that's my job. So somebody comes along and says, you know what, you don't have to hold up the chapstick. Wait a second, I went to college for this. I've got cramps in my arms for the last 20 years holding this thing up. You're telling me just to drop it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
That seems too easy. I don't know. And so we just keep on doing that to ourselves.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. It's just the way it is until we don't. That's what I look at it. Until we don't. We suffer until we don't.
Yeah.
Okay, paragraph 11. What is the will of God? He wills his sons... Let me do this again. Paragraph 11. What is the will of God? He wills his son have everything, and this he guaranteed when he created him as everything. It is impossible that anything be lost if what you have is what you are. This is the miracle by which creation became your function, sharing it with God. It is not understood apart from him, and therefore has no meaning in this world. Here does the Son of God ask not too much, but far too little. He would sacrifice his own identity with everything to find a little treasure of his own. And this he cannot do without a sense of isolation, loss, and loneliness. This is the treasure he has sought to find, and he could only be afraid of it. Is fear a treasure? Can uncertainty be what you want? Or is it a mistake about your will and what you really are?
What you really are. He wills his son have everything, and this he guaranteed when he created him as everything. It's like, what part of you are everything do you not understand?
Right.
There's a lamp, there's a computer, there's people, there's issues, there's a past, a future, there's people in China, there's other planets and galaxies. The Son of God is everything. Now, you'd say, what, so God made all this stuff and that's the Son of God? Basically, it's pantheism. No. That separates the material universe from God, because God as material universe, Father as Son, okay? Mm-hmm. God as material universe. What that means is it's a support system for the Son of God to know himself. That's my...
I would say to find himself.
To find himself.
Yeah. Because right now, I'm lost. In a way, I don't know that I'm lost, but I'm lost only in my mind, because I believe that, I am the individuated self.
If you had just play a game. Mm-hmm. If you had a deep understanding within yourself that this lunatic pacing back and forth upstairs, carving runes in their skin or whatever it is that they're doing, pacing, mm-hmm. giggling, laughing to themselves, whatever it is that person is doing, if you knew that was actually you, mm-hmm. and that you're not separate, if you knew that, I know that's impossible and it says it in the Course, that mm-hmm. from the sensate, from the perceptual viewpoint, it's impossible because it's obviously separate.
Yeah.
But in the game, if you saw yourself as that, mm-hmm. how does that affect anything?
Well, I would recognize my insanity. I mean, first of all, while I'm operating, within the ways of the world, like everyone else is, I don't see that I have an insane thought system.
But would you be able to reach into that thing pacing and go, oh, I understand. This is like, and you project love into it and say,
Right.
come to me,
Yeah.
come to me as something I can recognize or something.
Well,
How would you deal with it?
more than anything, for me, I just looked at it like I don't recognize that my thought system about, needing to fend off my little world, protect it, and all that kind of stuff is an indication that I don't believe that I am a son of God, first of all, and I am partaking in a sort of a game of pretending I'm separate from a wholeness that I cannot be separate from. What that ends up looking like as an outpicturing for me is that I don't understand that my everyday thoughts are also insane. This is, to me, it's an extreme example of what we do here, and then we make it real. His world seems real to him right now. Seems very real. Like our world, that we have commonality in how we see our world. He's now in another world that doesn't have as much of a commonality with everything. But his world seems very real to himself, is what I think.
Well, but in a way, what I hear is you're saying it is the Father, in this case, me or God, however you want to look at it, the Son goes on his adventure, his half-tilted, lunatic fringe adventure, as I've done from the Father, as the Son did from the Father.
Yeah.
So this is that person pacing. It's a model of I am connected, and the illusion of the separation. And so you almost want to say, if I were God, let's say it's a model of me and God. I mean, of God and me. God's down here worrying and fretting over me, and I'm pacing back and forth and back and forth. That's me up there as the Son of God. What would God do? What would God do? He'd cast a lasso around that person. He would say, you're not going to escape from my love. You're not going to escape from my laws, my way.
Right.
I know that's where you're going, but I'm sorry I can't give you that.
Right.
Because it would break me in half, and that's not possible.
Right.
I can't do that. And so God would somehow throw a lasso, like George Bailey lassoing the moon. He would lasso the Son, and that lasso is the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's
And he would hold on to him, and he would just hold on to that rope.
Uh-huh.
And he would just go, there he goes. And he would have it on a tether. Give it a tug every once in a while and say, come back. You're always on the tether.
Yeah.
You're always on the tether.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
We'll get you back. We'll get you back. So that if I were here and that were pacing and I knew I was connected, the only model I have for that is what the Course is saying is God's relationship with the Son, which is he wouldn't let him go.
Right.
And we're supposed to do that with the people in our lives. Don't let them go.
Right. Right. In the heart. Yeah, in the heart space. I mean, you don't let them go.
Well, obviously,
obviously, I can't,
Right, I know. Time, gag him, and keep him in the trunk all day long. Drive around the city. Are you ready to join me? No, Dad, I'm not ready yet. Keep on driving then.
I know.
Firings will continue until morale improves.
Right. No, let's see. So, in this one, how did we get off on there? Because we are, and he guaranteed when he created him as everything, it is impossible that anything be lost if what you have is what you are.
Yeah, he created me as everything.
Yeah.
So
right.
that includes all the people in my life. I'm connected to all of these things, which means that there is a relationship to me with everything in the Holy Spirit. I know I don't understand it. It's a non-dualistic concept.
Right.
But
I know we go through this, and we just do and everything else, but I often think of this as sort of a holographic game that I decided I wanted to play and then forgot I was playing a game. So how is that different? If, in other words, I'm not really in the the game that I'm playing on that, I'm actually the one who's like, I picked that avatar, and I've decided I'm that one in the game board on the computer. And then I forgot that I was just playing a game here.
Well, part of it, the trouble with it is, and I'd say this is a trouble with A Course in Miracles, is that sometimes when I'm doing a course, I think I'm the real one. They're not.
Right.
Now, the thing is, though, I'm as unreal as that one out there.
Right.
So you are in the, you may be the gorilla, you may be Mario in the Mario Brothers game, you may be a bunch of bananas, but one way or another, you're on the screen.
Right.
And the only one playing the game is the Son of God.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So,
With a capital S.
Yes, with a capital S. So I've never left, God has never, done that. And never, he says, oh yeah, well, if you want to go out there and play that thing that you forget about me, just remember, I gave you everything. You are everything. I'm the same as the Father. It is impossible that anything be lost if what you have is what you are. So I have everything that the Father has.
It's the same as being everything.
Yeah, it's the same as being everything. This is the miracle by which creation became your function. At this point, it's talking about that I've gone from being making to now, if I can remember that I am everything that the Father is, then which creation became your function, sharing it with God.
Do you realize that if that lunatic pacing in the attic, if I can lasso that, and now I'm not the analogy to the Father. Now I'm really just the fictional self, and I have this other messenger, this, all things are echoes of the voice for God. And it's trying to give me a message. I'm not getting it. I don't get the message at all. But if I go ahead and in faith and belief, using reason, I say, we're connected. And I visualize myself throwing that lasso, and I have that lasso, and I said, this is love, and this is the love of God. It's not mine, because I don't understand it.
Right.
And I go through that. Do you realize, if I can stay with this and do this in good faith with the Holy Spirit, I have created, I've brought the lunatic back to the mind of God, and me with him.
Right.
I've brought us both, because I've healed myself as someone who judges it.
Right. And doesn't that mean that I'm also healing my own insanity, that I could be separate?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly
So,
the reason for it.
Yeah, it's the reason for it.
That's the reason the craziness exists in the first place, is to
Yes.
have something to bring yourself back from insanity.
Right.
Okay. What? 12?
Yes, paragraph 12.
Let us consider what the error is so it can be corrected, not protected. Sin is belief. Attack can be projected outside the mind where the belief arose. Here is the firm conviction that ideas can leave their source, made real and meaningful. And from this error does the world of sin and sacrifice arise. This world is an attempt to prove your innocence while cherishing attack. Its failure lies in that you still feel guilty, though without understanding why. Effects are seen as separate from their source and seem to be beyond you to control or prevent. What is thus kept apart can never join. We're more explaining the problem here. We're on paragraph 12, and we're still explaining the problem of the lunatic in the attic, and I can't see myself as joined to it somehow.
Right.
It is resisting joining with me somehow.
Right. Effects are seen as separate from their source. Understand that all things, though, are also taking place in the mind. All of it, like a dream at night.
But it's not a mind here.
No, it's taking place in the mind of the Son of God that thinks it could be separate from the all.
You and I are both happening within the mind.
Yes, we are both happening within the mind.
Along with that.
Yes, but effects are seen as separate from their source. And I always have to identify the source. The source is the mind that thinks it could be separate. and then it can fractal out into all these different things. Just like I can have multiple beings, multiple things in my own mindscape when I dream at night. There's multiple stuff in there. And yet when I wake up, and a lot of times you only see yourself as one of the characters, even in your own dream time at night. But when you wake up, you recognize it all took place in your own mind, in your what we call our brain.
Right.
It's the same thing here. We think they're all separate characters and everything else, but it's all taking place in the same mind. I just have a sense of being separate from each one. So that's part of the healing, is to recognize their source and seem to be beyond you to control or prevent. But if it's all in your mind, it means it's not beyond my ability to control or prevent. It means I have the ability with the Holy Spirit to have a change of mind, a change of heart about anything. What is thus kept apart can never join. So as long as I think that I can be a partial part of the landscape and everything that I experience in my life, then I'll just say, well, those are separate things. That's what they are. And I will still have my belief in sin and guilt. Because the guilt comes from my belief that I don't recognize that I have anything to do with the landscape that is being reflected back at me.
No, it seems like there's a bunch of problems. It seems like something should be done about it. I mean, including my past. I mean, I feel like, wow, there was that person, there was that situation, you did bad there, you did bad there, you did okay there. So there's a lot of that going on. And I would say that that's guilt. It's a constant analysis of what happened, either globally in terms of the world population, or myself in any situation, or the family, or whatever situation I find myself in. I've got judgments about what went wrong or what went right. And that's a past, it's the present, and it's the future. And there's a feeling about the whole thing of a lack of control and a lack of an ability to get the thing fixed.
Right. And yet it says...
And that's guilt.
Yeah, that is guilt. And yet it says if you can recognize where the source of all that sort of upset or the guilt and the sin, if you recognize that it's coming from your own mind, that you're projecting out, and that's how all those things happened in my own life, and just say, I own it. I made it up. It's my own personal little story. I did that. Then once I can recognize where the source is, that means it can be forgiven, and it can be let go of.
The source
is my own making up, make believe. We make believe. In other words, everything here is I make, because the world I'm seeing and everything else is made up.
Right. I understand. But if you are everything, and that there's an obstacle, between where and what you are, there's an obstacle that you've placed between where and what you are, and the heaven that's your native place.
Right.
What's the error? What's the thing you're talking about? What's the mistake? What do we have to do? Because where and what I am, in terms of that line in the course that we covered a few minutes ago, I'm going to say that is justifiably, terribly flawed, pitiful, dangerous, horrible situation when separated from what it's actually in fact connected to. If it's connected, in other words, my placement here as an illusion, as a fictional self, as a flawed being, my place here, wow, it's loathsome. It's loathsome. And some people are more loathsome than others, here, right? On the Son of God, there's the ass end of things, and then there's other, there's stuff going on, right, with the Son of God.
Right.
Some things are more loathsome than others. However, as part of the perfect whole extension from the Father, that's the true identity. It's not fair to say, wow, great hair, the rest of it we could throw away. wow, you got a good-looking pinky. I love that pinky that you've got, or whatever. The rest of you, I don't know, plastic surgery, or we need to fix you, something. That's the problem. When you isolate a part of a person, a part of anything, when you slice it, it can be seen as loathsome.
Right,
if you see it honestly, I'm going by that actual experience. I keep talking about seeing myself on the podcast at one time, and I look at myself and go, that's horrible. And it's because I view myself as separate. I want that separate self to stand as a shining something. And the only hope for a shining anything is if I get rid of that obstacle between seeing myself as connected to the whole.
Yeah, right. But how does that happen? It's just that
it's forgiveness.
Yeah, it is forgiveness, and it's also, we've been given all the language that says that you thought you could separate yourself from heaven and from God. Not possible. Not possible. So I mean, if you can just make it some kind of mantra or whatever, and then recognize when you're in your insanity, it says, "Lord, save me," because you're in your insanity, and so all of this is a summary trying to get you to say yes to heaven again. All of this is to get you to say yes to, as you said, the desire, the willingness to move towards knowing you're innocent, you're sinless, and nothing happened through all of the things that you thought happened, all those trials and tribulations that you had. So where were we anyway? I want to read this over because I got lost.
12.
Let us consider what this error is so it can be corrected, not protected. Sin is a belief. Attack can be projected outside the mind where the belief arose. So that's what I was saying, that it's in my mind. If I can remember that when I'm seeing things that I don't like that are coming at me in my world and everything else, somehow I've been a part of believing in those particular things that I am now are on my screen that are to be, dealt with in my life. It could be health issues, it could be environmental things, or weather systems, it could be relatives, it could be whatever, work problems. And all of them are there to say, do you want to believe in this world of chaos and insanity where things are constantly shifting and changing all the time? Or do I want to remember the changeless, the perfect peace that is God holding out his hand to me every moment saying, I'm right here. I never left you.
It's just to get over the idea that you'll be obliterated.
Yeah.
It's really to get over the idea that remembering my true identity makes all this great, fun stuff go away.
Yeah. Yeah. So we kind of like our suffering, I guess. That's all I can say.
Should we?
Okay. Paragraph 13.
Should we pick this up tomorrow?
Yeah.